Look, I know it's been like 4 years in the making, but I promised I'd eventually make my way over to YouTube, and we are doing that right now. GM everyone, my name is Taryn, and you may best know me as the guy that streams ToB and takes learners and viewers all the time. You might also know me as the guy that allegedly forgets to freeze his S1 crab, but honestly, that's slander, and it should be disregarded, like, at all times. Today, shockingly, is more ToB, except not really. While you may be watching us do a ToB run, I'm mainly going to be answering a lot of questions that people sent in regards to my journey on hitting 10,000 ToBs. Yeah, we hit 10,000 ToBs on Monday, January 8th. That took roughly 4.5 years after I started full-time streaming, and honestly, that might have been the best stream I have had. Well, no, you know what? At least the best ToB. That 10K ToB run, which will be in a separate video, was the most fun I've had in a ToB in probably ever. Honestly, ever. Not even a long time, just ever. So yeah, we had 10K ToB, which was a massive accomplishment for me and the stream, honestly, for a lot of people that were there with me from day one. A lot of them were in that 10K ToB. Spent a lot of hours watching me, pushing me to get to the 10K, and we finally did it. Anyway, while we run this ToB, I'm going to go ahead and answer questions that you guys sent in from my Twitch stream, which I guess I should plug in right now. If you guys don't already follow me, twitch.tv/Taryn. We're live just about every day. Like I said, full-time streamer, so it's very hard that you'll ever miss a stream. Mainly on the weekends, that's the days off, but every now and then I'll take a random day off in the middle of the week, like I am for this video. So, first question, total GP profit. Now that's a hard question to answer because I've spent a lot of money. Obviously, because I've been doing this for 4.5 years, I spent a lot of money on maxing. I give away a lot of money. I give away money actually like every single day. So profit itself, very hard to try to take like a guess at. But on the screen right now, I'll put a screenshot of the amount of money I've made in my last, I believe it's somewhere over 8,500 cases, probably close to 9,000 since it started tracking. Now, obviously, this is all split. These are only in my name, so I had a lot of teammates along the way that got drops to and gave a split. But if I had to guess, just in like splits alone, with everybody, we've made well over like 15 bill in money. And that doesn't seem like a lot, but honestly, like when we started, Scythe, for example, the main thing that everyone does ToB for, was a lot of money, and then it dropped off, and now it's picking back up. So hopefully, you know, it'll stay like this. But yeah, profit itself, very hard to pinpoint. But revenue, as money that we just brought in, easily over 15 bill, because my bank alone is like 20 bill. So, and that's with spending money and stuff. So I'll go ahead and say safely over 15 bills been made from ToB. Next question. How long did it take? So at the beginning of the video, I said I've been streaming for 4.5 years. Come July, we'll be streaming full-time for 5 years. So honestly, yeah, 4.5 years. Now, obviously, we've taken breaks in between. You know, we've had months where we just did TOA. For example, on TOA release, all we did was TOA. We have leagues that come up, and sometimes I just kind of go away for a little bit, like weeks at a time. I've had a couple like really big burnouts while I've been sending ToBs, but we'll just say easily 4.5 years is how long it took to get 10K KC. Next, what's been your favorite part of the journey? And I know it might be like an easy out answer or like a sappy answer, but honestly, just meeting everybody, because every single ToB, no, not every single ToB, but most ToBs, it's different people every single raid that I've done. So meeting those people, getting to know them hanging out in chat, hanging out with me every single day, that's probably been my favorite part, just meeting everybody. And that's honestly why I still continue to do ToB. I might have answered a question that is going to come up later, but the main reason I still do ToB is because of the community. Like, a lot of the people that come and hang out are really chill. They come, they learn, they hang out, they do the raids, and then they make friends with everybody else in the community. And then they're like, I find them raiding when I'm not raiding, and that's honestly like really cool and really special to see, like friendships that are made through stream. And there's been a lot of friendships made, and that's probably the number one favorite part of the journey. The clog here is a screenshot of the collection log. it's a lot, and you might get mad at me. Um, there's more sites than there should. There's honestly more purples than there should be. I haven't done the math right now, but last I checked at about like 9,800 KC, a purple in my name was about 1 in 27, which is really lucky because on average, a purple in your name should be 1 in 41, assuming deathless. So yeah, you can say I'm a spoon somewhat. I mean, no, yeah, there's no way about it around it. I'm kind of a spoon. Next, what is next after 10,000 KC? So that's a big question. The ToBs aren't going to stop. I don't know if they're ever going to stop, honestly, unless I just stop streaming full time. I'm still going to ToB almost every single time that I'm live. And this is because there's always going to be learners that want to ToB, that want to get into ToB. And when you look at the landscape of ToB and RuneScape on Twitch, mainly, there's not many ToBers. Like, there isn't many people that are willing to take low KC guys into a ToB. I'm talking specifically normal ToB. I don't really do hard modes. You don't see many people willing to take learners and viewers. So it's honestly, I kind of feel like Batman. I kind of have to do it, you know? I'm here for the people, so to speak. But no, like, the ToBs aren't going to stop. They'll keep going. I don't know how long they'll do it for, obviously. But as of right now, I don't see it stopping. We're going to keep going. I am going to, however, do other stuff a little bit more. I still do need one more CM kit, for example. I need a lot of PB times at Chambers, at TOA, at ToB. We're going to start knocking off some of the CA tasks to get to GM. I have right now Master done. So getting to GM would be nice. It wasn't really ever a goal for me. I don't really care about GM, but a lot of people probably want to see a little bit more different content. So we'll start knocking out CAs one by one. Did I start this journey on ToB release? So no, I didn't. When ToB released, I actually wasn't even playing RuneScape. So like from about 2014 to 2018, I was on and off with the game. I'd play for a few months, I would stop, I'd play, and I'd stop. Just a lot of IRL stuff going on during that time. But when ToB came out, I wasn't even playing. I did watch it. I watched Wooks, I watched Bodhi. I was watching the main guys that were doing ToB. I didn't start ToB until I think it was November of 2018 with my best friend Jake. We both learned ToB together. We actually went on our first KC with Letulainen. That is a Stone Age name at this point. It feels like that's, if you recognize that name, props to you. He was the first person, I think, that was ever running ToB with learners. So I went with him for my first KC, and it's kind of sad. My internet sucked back then, like more than it does now. I DC'd on my first KC. I died at P1 pillars because I DC'd. So I got carried to my first one. So honestly, maybe that's why I do ToB, because I got carried to my first one. So I'm, passing it to the next person saying, I'm going to carry you and blah, blah, blah. But no, my first KC was in November 2018. That's when we started. And we've kind of been just going ever since. But I will say, it didn't take off fully until about June of 2019. That's when I'm like, all right, I'm going to start streaming a little bit more. What content am I going to stream? I started with my hardcore at that time. It died to a fire giant. We're not going to talk about that. But in about July, I was like, you know what? I'm going to just do full-time ToB streaming with learners and viewers. I'm just going to send it. And we sent it. And we got to 10,000. And that's where we're at now. So did not start on release, but close enough to it. How has the gear and inventory metas changed over the years of doing this? So specifically, I do mage. So for mage, it's changed a lot. Because for those that might not know, prior to, I want to say 2021, it might have been sometime around hard mode ToB's release, freezing crabs wasn't always 100%. So you would freeze them in max mage, and I'm talking Ansi hat and the cape, like the full swap besides Eternals. You don't take Eternals, obviously, and the ring. There was no use for a Sears ring. You would click freeze, and it was 50-50 on if you were going to freeze it or not. Now, obviously, the higher accuracy you had, the better it was, but it wasn't guaranteed to freeze. So the meta really for like efficient raids back then was basically max mage minus the boots in the ring. So we're talking Arcane, obviously Ansi top, bottom, and hat, Torm, Occult, Seng, or Kodai for freezing, all of it. That was kind of the meta, and then they eventually changed it, and I was like, all right, so we only need like a 5-way swap for mage now to make sure 100% freezing. However, I will say having the arcane for rigor freezing used to be really nice. It's really really nice to be able to do that. But yeah, for mage, besides that, nothing's really changed. For range, Elite Void has always been king, and I think for ToB, Elite Void will always stay king because 0 defense, and it's honestly pretty OP for what it is. Elite Void, that is. For range, yeah, not much has really changed. Like, you add Chin and Buckler now, which is huge. Melee, yeah, if you think about it, Melee's changed the most. You have your scythe, you've gone from Banners to Torva, you now have different rings that you bring in. You used to see people with the event RPG for Nyla and now you have, well, then it went to Hamjoint for a little bit, but then Swiftblade quickly after, and now Swiftblade's like, the best thing for melees to use in the Nyla. So Melee's probably changed the most because of the ring change, or the ring swaps and stuff too. So meta has changed a lot. The one that's probably changed the least, I would imagine, is range, because you just kind of got the buckler now. You've always had the buckler for chins, but yeah, I'd say range has maybe changed the least. But I might be wrong about that. I'm gonna say range has definitely changed the least though. The most problematic issues rating with viewers, it used to be, well, the fear was always that people would scam, but I got lucky and people didn't really scam at all. Like, there was one person that scammed a Sang staff early on, and then that man spent more money on early name changes buying bonds than he would have had he just split the Sang staff in the beginning. And this is when Sang staff was 80 mil. So it wasn't like really, you're going to scam 80 mil while I'm live? Like, I don't know. People be down bad. But that was a fear. But the most problematic issue with rating with viewers, it's changed from year to year. For sure, I would say in 2023 and 2022, anybody that was new that was trying to get into ToB would refuse to do anything except for melee DPS. Now, when you're raiding with me, I will assign you any role besides mage, because I will stay mage. So I'll assign them a role, and then they're kind of forced to do it and learn it, which I think has helped them, honestly. But the biggest problem was always a lot of people just wanted to do melee. Nobody wanted to learn mage. Nobody wanted to learn, well, not mage, but no one wanted to learn melee DPS. No one wanted to learn North Freeze. So they would just, stay as melee DPS. So that was an issue. But it's kind of changed recently. Now it looks like people are willing to learn like anything, as long as they, are getting into the raid, getting the KC and learning. So that's kind of nice. How many wipes total do I estimate? So here's my board after 10,000 KC. Now, mind you, not all of these are wipes. So you see total completions and stuff, total attempts. A lot of them are resets from duos. I do a lot of duos. And a lot of them is like, oh, we had a really bad maiden, so we're going to reset this. We're not going to continue. Or like when you're going for like PB runs and it's like, okay, well, this Nyla was bad, so we're going to resign. I'd say the most wipes in a room is definitely Bloat. Bloat has killed me countless of times, or wiped my team countless of times. It's honestly the hardest room. It's not. Maiden's, oh no, Maiden's not the hardest either. Maiden's the worst room by far in this game. Like, besides any, okay, never mind. The monkey in TOA is pretty bad. Not Baba, but the monkey puzzle room, that might be the worst room in the game. But then Maiden. Anyway, Bloat, we've wiped the most there. Most memorable learner stories. I had a learner at Zarpus forget to charge his blowpipe, and so he didn't know what to do, so I forced him to uncharge his blowpipe and throw his darts at Zarpus. And I don't even think it was dragon darts. This man was an Iron Man, so I'm pretty sure he was throwing like rune darts or addy darts, which was depressing. But that might have been the funniest thing I've seen from a learner, and I'm pretty sure he died right after that too. Like, Zarpus screeched, he ran in and instantly like just challenged himself out. I might be remembering that wrong, but that's probably what it was. What keeps you going? Like I said, the community. It would feel weird for me to just stop tobbing and stop streaming, and then all the people I've met just kind of lose connection with them. Like, the people I've met are like the best people I've met. Like, honestly, like I have more online friends than IRL friends. My best friends are all online, so that's what keeps me going. Any interest in 10k Cox and Toa? Absolutely not. Am I going for high scores? Nope. TOB has always been just rating with the viewers and learners. I've never cared about high scores. I might be up there now, rank 3, rank 2, whatever I am. I don't care about high scores. I never have. I never will. How many KC does it take most people to become proficient at ToB from what I've seen? So it used to be less. Like, I always say this on stream, and I don't mean any offense to anybody listening to this right now. When it was 2020, the ToB learners were pretty, like, they were fine. Like, they weren't great, but they were okay. But as the years have gone on, it's become worse and worse. At least, like, there seem to be standards in 2020 and 21 where, okay, you at least have Elite Void, you at least have DWH ready to go, you at least have, Dragon Darts in your blowpipe, or at least Amethyst. Whereas now, homies will pull up and bless D-Hide, or like, I'll see someone using a Sarah sword, I mean, granted, it's a pure, but sometimes it's not a pure, and you'll see him using a Sarah sword. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, at least if you want to get into TOB and you want to get carried, like, that's fine, but at least come, prepared so that at least you can do damage, so that you don't feel completely useless. But I guess I signed up for that when I said, you know what, anybody can TOB me. I don't really care about gear requirements. But for those listening that want to get into TOB, at least have Elite Void ready to go. Don't come unprepared into TOB. Anyways, to become proficient at ToB, I think that's tough to say, because there are people that are like 200 KC right now that I see ranging, and they're kind of goated. Like, these men, they're on spellbook swap, everything, thrall and everything. So I'd say it's going to take you over 1,000, honestly. It's probably going to take you over 1,000 KC to become proficient, to learn everything. And even then, you won't know everything technically. Like, you're always learning something at TOB. But I would say well over 1,000 KC until you're comfortable with most of the higher efficient stuff. Favorite TOB boss would have to be Nihilorum. Nihilorum is the best room in TOB by far. It's always fun trying to push yourself to go as fast as possible in that room, because you have to learn the waves, you have to be ready for splits. Like, learning the waves was some of the most fun I had when I was like learning TOB. And once you get it down to where you, like, as a mage, you can hit all your pre-fires and they're all dead before they even come into the room, which doesn't usually happen because mage is so weak in this game. But you get that down, and it's a lot of fun. Would you rather eat? No, I'm not answering that question. The worst player I've raided with, there is a user named Arab Talal. You'll see him in my Twitch chat. He is by far the worst raider I've ever raided with. This man has no idea what's going on. Like, you'll see him in this raid right now. He's on that account over there. The one that I don't have added. He is the absolute worst. Don't ever raid with him if you ever see him. That's not his account right now. Don't ask me what he's doing on that account. I refuse to answer that question. But he is by far the worst raider I've ever raided with. When to start TOB? Get Elite Void. You get Elite Void and have at least, like a Tentacle Whip, have a Blowpipe, have a DWH, then you could probably start raiding at that point. During the road to 10k, which 1,000 was the worst and why? I'm going to say KC 8,000 to 9,000. Now, I was struggling because I was thinking about KC 1,000 to 2,000, which is when I started. So obviously you're not, like I said, freezing wasn't 100% back then. That was pretty rough. But the learners at least were like okay. But KC 8 to 9,000 is a bit different because for streaming, I saw a downturn in viewers that wanted to raid. There wasn't that many new learners coming to the game that wanted to learn. So getting people to raid with while I was live during that 1,000 was really hard. I kept on raiding with the same people, which is fine because a lot of them are great and they know what they're doing. But it became kind of boring for me. The most fun I have on this game is with learners because they'll do stuff that is so foreign and is so silly at times that it's funny. And that's what makes TOB fun for me. When I see a learner doing something that's so silly, that's obviously hurting us in the raid, but it's not going to wipe us. It's just silly. So 8 to 9k was tough. There wasn't many learners, and I slowed down a lot doing TOB at that point. Max KC in one day would have been 32, I think. We did 32 KC in one day back in, I want to say 2022 or 21. I think it was 2021. End of 2021, I did a subathon, or maybe that was end of 2020. I can't remember. It was my first subathon. I think it was end of 2020 actually. No, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was end of 2020. I'm sticking with it. We did a subathon. I did 32 raids in a 24-hour period, which I know I can beat. I know I can easily do 60 plus in a 24-hour if I wanted to, but I haven't gone for it yet. I definitely do want to do that soon though. What made you choose to do South Magician? I just wanted to make sure I was mage, and this is mainly because I feel like mage is the most important role. Now, obviously, that's subjective. You ask different people; they're all going to have different answers. But mage, you're in charge at Nilo for the freezing and everything, and definitely at Maiden, obviously, for the crabs. The more crabs that go in, Maiden sucks. Nilo, you don't have your major freezing, especially with learners, and those pillars go down. It's not a fun time. So I chose mage for that reason. Anyways, thank you guys for coming to my first YouTube video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm live every single day, like I've said, on twitch.tv/Taran, doing ToB with learners and viewers. Even if you're not a learner, pull up, let's have some fun, do a raid or two, get some purples, maybe pull a scythe. Right now, scythe is a lot of good money. So I appreciate you guys. I will see you in the next one.